now going to take a quick tour through the display functions of the Tech 2 and give you kind of an overview of the special function aspects of it as well. Now, in the interest of time, we're obviously not going to be able to cover all of the special functions of the tool. Included in this particular package, you'll have kind of a pathing chart of all the parameter IDs and output controls and what menus you'll find them in. I just want to point out to you a few of the hot functions of the tool, and we'll go through some of the hot keys as well as we go through the data display and kind of how to manipulate the display itself. So we're going to go back to Powertrain, and we're going to select our engine, which is N as in Nancy, and we're going to go to Data Display, and we'll select Engine Data, and I will do Engine 1. Now you're going to get a listing on the screen here of obviously data parameters. If you note about 3/4 of the way down on the right side, it will say 1/ in this case 1/47. That tells you the total number of parameters in that engine list and which particular parameter you're on. So the engine speed happens to be the first parameter in a list of 47. So our engine data 1 has 47 engine parameters. Now, to navigate your way through this, you can either use the up or down arrows and key through it, or you can do pages at a time. To do page changes at a time, you're going to use the left arrow key and the right arrow key. And the right arrow key will send you down one page at a time, and the left arrow key will send you up one page at a time. So it allows you to jump very quickly when you get these data lists with 30, 40, and 50 data parameters. Jump very quickly among screens. You can take a quick glance and see if anything looks out of the ordinary. So our O2 sensors are switching well. Long-term fuels. Now you'll notice hotkeys on the bottom here. The first item says select items. This allows you to customize a list from the items. Out of 47, you can take any 3 items and pull them up and create a separate list for them out of the 47. I'll show you how that works. So let's say you were working on a particular problem and you wanted to look at maybe 3 items and aren't really as concerned with the rest of them. We could go to select items, and it will give us that list with no data fluctuating. This is essentially the data parameter list. So I'm going to select engine speed. So you highlight the item and you hit the enter key and it'll put an asterisk next to it. And we'll go down to mass airflow sensor, and we'll key down to one of the front oxygen sensors. And then we're going to hit the button that says accept. Now you'll notice what it is. It took those 3 parameters out of the list and put them up on the top. So they will remain up there all the time. You can then jump through the rest of the list and keep those other 3 active simultaneously. So it allows you to pull out parameters that you may use frequently while monitoring the other parameters. The next hotkey you see on the bottom is DTCs. This will allow you to jump very quickly from engine data or transmission data, wherever you are, right into the diagnostic trouble code section. When you select DTCs, it'll take you into the DTC menu, which allows you to select specific DTCs or current history codes, or go through the levels of OBD2 diagnostics. The next hotkey there is Quick Snapshotter. And Quick Snapshot allows you to take a running snapshot movie while you're in this mode. So you don't have to go back to a specific menu off of the main menu in order to run a snapshot. So if you're on a road test with a vehicle, for example, and you're driving down the road and the car hiccups, you can right off this screen here, hit this soft key, and it will start recording a snapshot movie for you. The Tech 2 with a 32 meg card will actually take a record time of up to several hours if you wanted to record that much information. You'll find typically 3 to 4 minutes is usually a good amount of information for you to capture all of the data. Now I'm going to caution you at this point, because the snapshot is only going to snapshot the data list that you're in. We happen to be in engine data 1, so our snapshot will pertain to the data that's in this data list. If we're looking for a specific set, like let's say misfire information, we may want to move to the misfire data list and then do it accordingly. In fact, that's a good place to go, because I've created a misfire on this vehicle, and I wanted to show you how that would show up in the data list. So rather than having to exit out back to the main menu, we can go right to that data list through another hotkey here, which is the More key. And you'll notice you'll have the first one, which says units, allows you to change on the fly between Celsius and Fahrenheit. The next 2 hotkeys there will allow you to go to the previous list or to the next list. So misfire list was a couple of lists down the road, so we're going to select next list. which is engine 2, next list, which is fuel trim, and there's our misfire data. Now you'll notice we have misfire current on cylinder number 3. I unplugged one of the ignition coils here, so it's showing up as a misfire. It's also interesting here, notice that on cylinder 1 it's showing up as misfire. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. It'll also give you history per cylinder here. In this case we're showing a history of 1,481 misfires on number 1 and 2,800 on cylinder number 3. So the rest of the parameters look reasonably normal. Now, I could at this point, if I wanted to graph this data, I'm going to select the More key, and I'm going to go to Live Plot. Now the Live Plot is going to plot the parameters that I had selected in the select list earlier. I'm going to go back and modify that because in this case I want to live plot my misfire graphic. So I'm going to select More, and I'm going to go back to Select Items, and I'm going to, I'll leave engine speed there. I'm going to select cylinder 1 because we saw a misfire on there, and cylinder 3. Let me clear the other one. It'll only allow you to select 3 total, so I had to go clear the other one. And then we'll click Accept. So it's going to take the engine speed, cylinder 1, and cylinder number 3. And we're going to click Accept. Now in this particular case you'll notice the dotted line is cylinder number 1, the solid line is the engine speed parameter. And you'll notice that misfire current cylinder climbing here. Now you have a couple of options. You can change the min-max on the screen to change the resolution of the graph. Once again, you can take a snapshot while you're running. We must have missed number 3. Yep. Okay. Now we should have all 3 graphed. There we go. So we have the thick solid line is the engine speed, the thin solid line is cylinder number 3, and the dotted line is going to be cylinder number 1. And you'll notice cylinder number 3 misfire is climbing a lot higher than cylinder number 1.